Let's get it. Today we're going to talk about this comment that I received on one of my most recent YouTube videos. We're going to talk about why I entered this trade specifically and just some general trading strategies. Let's go. What is up, everybody, and welcome to the Crypto Cabin. My name is Tom, and in today's video we are going to be going over a very specific trade example and just some general strategies that I use when looking for what are good potential trades to enter. If you're new to the channel, please scroll on down, leave this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, then click that little notification bell and select all so you get notified for when I post these new videos. So without any further ado, let's jump right in here. So in my DCA strategy video, I mentioned that I'm starting with just $500 in a trading portfolio and trying to slowly build that up over time. So I got this comment from White Insane, not sure how to say your name correctly, if it's the one or an in, if the one is an I. Anyways, can you do a video on how you trade for increasing your $500 weekly, your strategy, why you do certain trades and such? Thank you. Absolutely. So we're going to talk about a specific trade that I am actually currently in that I entered into today. I am currently shorting FLM, and as you can see, it is 42 over 40% in a profit. You can also see that for the day, my daily realized profit is actually negative until I close this trade out. It's because I was trying to short this a little bit earlier and it didn't play out. I mean, you're not always going to be able to hit 100% of your trades, obviously. But as you can see, if I close this trade out now, I would be positive for the day. You can also see over here that 500 in this trading account, I'm a little bit below it right now. Didn't have the greatest week. So you learn some, you win some, you lose some, and try to learn from the ones that you do lose. So I guess to start with, in general, my strategy is to short right now during this type of market. We are in a very risk-off market. The interest rates came out again as higher than expected, right? So people are in a very, I guess, bearish mindset. So that is right now what we need to be looking for, in my opinion, is looking to short or for really good shorting situations. So what I do all of my trading on Bybit right now. Link to that is down in the description as well if you want to get started there. But make sure, obviously, that you kind of have a good idea of what you're doing before you get involved and go too crazy high leverage and, could obviously lose a lot of money with trading. So what I want to talk about, I guess, is shorting mindset. Then I come through and scroll down here, and what I've been doing most recently is I look for things that have actually pumped. So I'm looking for anything in the green for on a day like today. So I mean, maybe not that. That's not really much of a change. But what I found earlier today was FLM that had pumped. So I scrolled down here. Everything's red. I'm just looking for a little bit of green. Boom, there was some green. So I go in and start doing some more TA research on FLM just to see what is actually going on with that price wise. So literally the only one that was in the green today. So I went and checked it out a little bit more. I looked at Tradingview here, did some quick stuff on my own. And so you can check out this indicator. This is the pivot based trailing maxima and minima, kind of pointing out tops. And I'm surprised there hasn't been anything printed there. So maybe it could be going higher. But anyways, that's what I look at. I look to see where we are from a stochastic RSI perspective, which is this blue line here. And then I look for these really high momentum waves and both red dots up at the top of that momentum wave. And I need to see that for at least to enter into a shorter term trade. I personally need to see that on at least the 1 hour time frame to have decent confidence that that is going to be going shorter. This, we have red dots on the 1 hour, the 2 hour, and the 3 hour as well. I believe just printed a red dot. So that gave me confirmation. I mean, as we've gone through this trade, it gave me further confirmation to stay in the trade. The initial reason that I did enter this trade is by looking at the candlesticks. So I looked at all these really big wicks that we were getting towards the top. Usually when there's a lot of big wicks coming in one after the other, that means that there is a lot of selling pressure and it's kind of running up, but the price is always getting pushed down, pushed down, pushed down. So that is one thing that I look for. First of all, is really long wicks to the top when I want to short. If you're wanting to long, I would be looking for really long wicks to the bottom side. The next thing I would be looking for is some sort of significant candle. So you can go and look up a lot of these candles just by doing a quick Google search. Just look for, types of candles. But this one in particular here at the very top of this kind of 1 hour chart that I'm on here looked like to me that it was a spinning top. So what that means is that there is a kind of a really tall wick to the upside, tall wick or longer wick to the downside, and price kind of opened and closed very, very similarly to where, yeah, at the exact same price it opened and closed very close. Once we see that with the long wicks, it's quite possible that we could be running out of steam and could be coming back down to the downside. But I don't enter in as soon as I see this candle. As you can see, I kind of entered in this red line at the top is, or this middle red line here is my entry point. And you can see my entry point was right at around 0.15286. So that was my entry point. And then what I want to do from there is as soon as we kind of get a confirmed close below that, the wick of that candle, then I'm looking to go short. And so we kind of went down below it. We got a retest on this candle here. And that is when I entered my trade right in about this zone. You can see that it's continued onto the downside, obviously. So up to this point, I've made the right call. And then I set my stop loss just above the height of this wick. Now, depending on what type of leverage you are using, you may need to, reduce the leverage, I guess. If the top of this wick is way too high, you might have your stop loss, I guess, lower or higher than your liquidation point. So maybe you need to adjust your leverage. Right now, you can see that I am in a 10x short, and I go isolated. I go isolated every time because isolated means that, I'm only risking a specific margin, I'm only risking a certain amount that I've put in. So in this trade, if I got liquidated, I would only lose this $87 at this point in time. If you go cross margin, then all available balance can be used to meet or to maintain the margin requirements to prevent liquidation. So that means you could maybe only have this 87.79 in the trade, but in order to maintain margin and prevent liquidation, it could start pulling from the rest of your account to maintain that margin. So I always go isolated because I want to make sure that I'm not risking, anything, not my whole account in one trade. And normally I only do 10% of my trade or of my portfolio in one trade. This one I was quite confident that we were going to continue downwards. So that is why I have a little bit more in there. I think I ended up actually doing two different 10% entry points. And then those two entry points averaged out to this price right here at about 0.1528 or whatever that is. So now that we are in profit, the next thing to do for me would be to adjust my stop loss so that this trade can no longer be lost. So right now the stop loss is obviously way up high here. I would want to move the stop loss to somewhere below my entry point, so that I have locked in profits on this trade and can't lose it. So how you do that on Bybit anyway is I click on this little icon there, and then I would come over here and I would adjust whatever I want it to be. So how do you know what you want it to be? Well, that's, up to you obviously, but there is a little bit of checking we can do over here. You could check on Bybit too, that's totally fine, but I like to look at a little bit more, some different stuff over here. This is on Tradingview. Just make sure that when you do search for the project or the coin that you are on the same one as the platform that you're trading on. So I am on the Bybit FLM USDT. Make sure it's the same pairs, all that stuff. So this is the exact same chart as what I'm looking at over here, just with some different metrics going on. So it's pretty clear that we are in an uptrend on this project or this coin specifically. I would probably try to take some profits down here if we get back down to this line right at around just over 14 cents, because that's been an area that was previous resistance before, could be turning into support. So I'd want to make sure to take some profits there. And then for a stop loss, I like to look at this line here. So wherever this kind of starts going flat, that's where I might set my stop loss. So in this case, this is at 0.1, right around 0.151, let's say. So in order to adjust stop loss and take profit, this is the TP/SL. So we click on this little pencil icon there, and I said I want my stop loss to be 0.151. And as you can see, regardless of what happens with this trade, once I set this, I will have locked in 12% on this trade. But I do want to leave it still a little bit of wiggle room to run down. Like if we get a wick up to the top, hopefully you wouldn't get wicked out. But if you do get wicked out, because you can see obviously how big these wicks have been in the past, then at least you will have locked in profits on this trade. Then for take profits, like I said, it was kind of just above, right around 14 cents. So maybe this is where I set my take profit, because as you can see, this is where we ran into some resistance before and could be flipping into support potentially. So we're going to do a take profit at just over 14 cents. 1405, you can see the expected profit would be about 80% on that. So there you have it. That is one trade in particular and why I entered into it. Obviously, there's a lot more indicators that you can look at. I always look for at least 3 points of confluence to make sure that there are multiple different things saying that we're going in the same direction. If you got some value out of this video, please scroll on down, leave this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and click that little notification bell. Select all so you get notified when I post these new videos. I appreciate each and every single one of you. See you next time on the next episode from the Crypto Cabin.